Everybody is the Quantum Show Quantum Panel Discussion. Lynn and Joe are with us right now. Welcome back to the Quantum Panel, guys. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for
Oh,
having me.
thank you.
I had to get the special coffee out for this one, y'all,
Oh,
because
yeah.
if you were here for the first hour, let me tell you, it's exciting, but it's depressing at the same time.
Not so much now. That little spell ahead of this was quite good.
Yeah. Hey, Renee, everybody in the chat room, Diane, Aussie Tiger, who else? Tim Stafford, and that's it for now. And
Hi,
the
everyone.
StreamYard robot.
Okay, to explain to you, TPU is a thermoplastic that makes rubber parts.
I remembered after you said that. I know what TPU is, but I thought you meant something else because them acronyms they go all over the place. I mean,
Oh yeah.
to
I'm lost
mo
with them.
What's in
yeah,
Lost.
what's in NEIT? I mean,
yeah. You know what? There's a network protocol called UTI, and that really tripped me out.
Oh, one of
There's a network protocol called UTI, and I was
those.
like, "Whoa, what?" The teacher says, "Does anybody know what UTI stands for?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"Urinary
you
tract
could.
infection." They're and I was
I'll
like
bet
being
that made
totally
your head a
serious.
party.
Yeah, I was being totally serious, but he did not like it. He was the
Bet.
guy who
he
was
asked the
teaching
question.
Cisco. Yeah, he was teaching Cisco networking and switch programming and routing, and he came. That was not his first thing. His first thing was archaeology, and it was just as slow as you would think it would be. He grew up in archaeology, and archaeology,
That takes eons.
wah wah wah.
Dry as a bone.
Talking about archaeology,
Hey,
archaeologists have found plastic particles in soil sediment layers that shouldn't have been touched by humans.
oh,
But
how
you know as well as I do, you burn a log, you're going to create some plastics in the process.
right? There's some very specific things. Um,
Resins and so
was it?
forth.
What did they find? An action figure? No, they
No,
found
no, no.
particulates.
Right, they found particles. They found microplastics in sedimentary layers. Let's see, here we go. Let's
Okay.
see. Copy
That's
link.
amazing.
Yeah,
And
some plastics are
last
so a
for
lot. Some of our plastics are created biomechanically.
Yeah.
Okay.
uh,
Well, the link is in the
like
chat. So.
one of the first ones, casein, which was milk and vinegar.
Oh no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, we humans have been experimenting with stuff for always,
Yeah.
just
Uh,
always.
put that link in the private chat so I can open it and present it, Joe, if you would please.
All right.
But yeah, getting back on topic, I'll show that because that's fascinating, right? Uh, yeah, the guy. Thank you. The uh, the teacher I had, he came from archaeology, and it was the most boring class. He did not make Cisco fun. Okay, he
I
made it.
I hate teachers that are dry.
Yeah, and but as soon as
Gotta
I
bring it
understood
alive.
that, I kept. You know what I did? I imagined this guy with a whip and a hat and a golden idol, and it made the class so much more interesting. Archaeology, it made the class so much more interesting because I was doing that.
How did that spell go? Uh,
Which one?
inconceivable. Was that it?
Inconceivable. Yeah.
No, it's a spell in Potter's theories. Inconceivable. That was from.
Okay. Go away. Go away.
There we go. This is the microplastics found in sediment layers supposedly untouched by humans. The link will be in the description after the show.
Is that in some sort of pattern?
I don't believe
Well,
so. I think
actually,
it's
no. That's just a something to demonstrate it. The microplastics are going to be granular in size, not big
Oh,
old
I
lumps like
see.
that. That's just
That blue
somebody's.
is a gemstone, I think.
Well, it could be. It could be something else, but I don't think that picture is actually a picture of something they found at the site. I think that was just an illustration.
Yeah.
like a
Okay.
go-to thumbnail.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this is a sample of dirt. We found plastic in here.
Well, why not?
You'd make who sweat, Storm. Yeah, greetings, everybody.
Hey, Storm. Who
Saving
you
the show.
making sweat? The dry teachers.
Let me see here.
Yeah.
Okay, I will read some of this, and it's not a super long article. If you're paying attention, you probably know by now that microplastics are literally everywhere: our food, rainwater, babies in the womb, you name it. While I have not pre-read this, so I don't know what
Yeah.
it's going to say. For
Well, I was going to
educational
say,
purposes only.
yeah, they said they find it in layers that were back at the 1700s.
Okay. While we're not exactly sure what the consequences are or will be, experts are fairly sure we're not going to like them. Now, microplastics have been found in a place human hands have never touched, supposedly. They're showing up in sediment layers date back date back to the early 1700s, which means microplastics exist in places untouched by modern plastic making humans. Scientists discovered this near three lakes in Latvia. They were planning to prove that the presence of microplastic could be a reliable indicator for the beginning of the Anthropocene epoch. Anthropocene epoch. Basically, they believed that in the 1950s, it was the beginning of the large impact humans would have on the environment, so microplastics in the soil shouldn't date beyond that. Previously, researchers have relied on ash or ice to study past events on Earth. These scientists are saying microplastics definitely aren't as reliable since they're showing up far earlier in the sediment than humans could have physically put them there. We, quote,
Well, it's
we,
interesting.
we conclude that interpretation of microplastics distribution in the studied sediment profiles is ambiguous and does not strictly indicate the beginning of the Anthropocene epoch. Picture.
Okay.
After all, microplastics have shown up in Antarctica, where humans rarely spend time polluting the immediate area. Uh, I have something to say about that. Of course, it's Antarctica. The real trick seems to be how to get rid of microplastics in our environment. So far, the only thing we know for sure is that it won't be easy. If you think that's impressive, check out the story about a gold mine of lithium that was found in the U.S. that could
Yeah, you
completely
skipped another
change.
picture there, which I really like the idea of. They found worm-eating plastics in nature.
Yeah.
Plastic eating worms.
Yeah,
Hey.
Yeah,
plastic
you
eating
said.
worms in nature. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sorry, I
yeah,
reversed it.
yeah. They
But
also have they figured out there are mushrooms and fungus that will
and
nourish.
rotifers.
They're finding apparently they're finding a lot, so that's good. And I guess this article, which we won't listen to, is the same thing. Okay, let me go ahead
All
and get
right.
this off the screen. We don't need it.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
mention they found certain certain of creatures that find that to be a tasty bit.
mm-hmm.
So, we might be out of it after all.
Yeah.
But that's gonna take an awful lot of them, and how
What?
big can they grow?
Yeah,
That might be another problem.
and where in their evolution had they run into plastics before, other than as Nathan and I were talking about, plastics do form in nature.
Yeah.
You can, like I said, burn a piece of wood and some of your, or corn, various various things, and somebody needs to get a refill on coffee. Go ahead,
Maybe
get your refill.
maybe it's more about what that plastic was evolved from.
Oh
Is
well, I
whether or
found
not those critters like it or not.
Lynn what you said. How big will they get?
Yeah.
Could they get this big? That's a scary thought.
Oh, let us hope not.
That is
Well,
from the movie Evolution.
if it's eating plastic, let it go.
Yeah.
Well, let it eat it, but by the time when it reaches cow size, let's be exploring that option too.
Yeah, well, those old Chevy, what is it? The race car, Corvettes.
Yeah.
Might be a good thing to eat.
Oh, let me say something about Antarctica. Antarctica has a lot of wind, and it's got wind blowing microplastics. They blow around. They could be in Antarctica, just
Yeah,
like
why
they could
wouldn't
blow
they?
anywhere. They could blow around anywhere. Well, that's
I
that.
mean, they're not disaffected by our airstreams or anything else. I mean, they're part of the planet,
Yeah,
so it only makes sense that they would have some of it.
yeah. And no, we're not down there constantly polluting, like the article said, but we are down there, and the wind does blow from up here to over there. So,
Yeah, and I don't imagine airplanes go plastic free in the air either.
oh
No.
no, they don't. I can tell you 100% they don't. They shed all kinds of stuff. They shed all
Oh
kinds of
no,
stuff.
it makes sense too because there's such a thing as fatigue, metal fatigue.
Metal fatigue. There's plastic degrades with particulates coming off, shedding off of them, and that's why paint is so important because the paint actually, even though it doesn't last as long as metal or plastic, it will last long enough to keep those particulates in and keep things from attacking the plastic or metal.
Oh,
Anyway,
so that's part of how
nerd
they
moment.
keep it from happening
Right.
or,
Paint.
or lessen it anyway.
Yeah, painting it. But anyway, uh as much as I don't really love this topic, but going on the dark side of stuff, right? Uh I hope my presentation was okay. Everything I do is kind of off the cuff. All I had was a list. This list.
I
This is
I didn't find anything wrong with it.
okay. And I
You're
don't
kind of jiggling in your speech there. The stream's not especially good for you.
yeah. You mean right now?
Yeah.
Oh well. There may be something going on with the sound. Let me make
I
sure
don't
I'm
know. You sound fine to me.
okay. Well, there were like I've got permanent wards up against stuff, and
Hey,
I've got
Frank, could you maybe go in the other room with the other computer because I think maybe it's cross modulating with me.
so sound issue
Yeah, I think
over
so.
there. Is he? Oh, okay.
Uh,
Well,
he's very near me, and I'm just thinking if he's listening also, this the computer might be doing a
yeah, might be picking up.
heebie-jeebie. Who knows?
Yeah. But I have permanent wards and permanent things in place, especially, and I also do the temporary things. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, I've got. I mean, to talk about topics like those are taboo topics in the paranormal. We know this. We know this, but everybody else might not know that. That's why they make such great movies out of them because it's the literally the scariest stuff you can come up. You
But
can.
people that
Yeah,
make those movies, they come away from that sometimes needing therapy, and
Yeah,
that's not an
yeah.
exaggeration.
But it's interesting. The Ouija board until the 70s was a toy that was found in every house almost, and it was almost in every uh, child center in every church. It was there, and there was no uh, negativity put on the Ouija board.
Well, I don't know about
And
that.
until Hollywood makes a movie and then makes it negative. And then all of a sudden, you got all these pastors preaching against Ouija boards.
There are, it goes way back. Uh, Off the top, spirit board history on Google. Just off the top. I'm not even clicking a link. I just put that in the. Let me bring it up here. Okay. I didn't look this up beyond what you see on the screen. Use of talking boards before the name Ouija. Use of talking boards was so common by 1886 that news reported the phenomenon taking over the spiritualist camps in Ohio. The Ouija was named in 1890 in Baltimore, Maryland, by medium and spiritualist Helen Peters Noseworthy. Now, this is from Wikipedia, right? So it is to be suspect. So,
Yeah, but there's nothing negative there said about it.
no, there's nothing negative. It
It-
was
it-
a
It was used
channeling
in
device.
spiritualist uh, situation during the Victorian times.
Hmm. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Joe, you're right. That movie you're talking about, there was a movie, and it programmed people to do bad things with them. It gave a Paul of fear, and that's fear is so insidious. It does things like that,
well,
and
as I said in the poem earlier,
mm,
it's
Well, some of the questions that people ask that thing are kind of on the ill-advised side, shall we say?
right, because some of the things they came up with were essentially black magic.
hmm
Yeah. Well,
Is William
like
going to be
death
my husband?
dates. I'm sorry, like death dates and when is the end of the world and things like that, which in Christian religion you are not allowed to predict the end of the world.
Right.
yeah,
So
Again, may the moon bless our steps.
yeah,
yeah.
so
But
I mean it's just a question more or less of I I'm I had one of those things when I was a kid.
I have one.
It started talking nasty, and I took it outside, put it into a million pieces, and burnt the thing. Said, I don't want it anywhere near me. It belonged to me. I was allowed to do that. Now, was I punished for that? Oh, absolutely. But I never backed down on the decision.
mm, okay,
You know, I know too much about that sort of thing, even just growing up, that I didn't need to have any help.
No.
Not
But
like that.
it's also interesting how religion affects the brain.
Yeah.
You have a researcher. I'll have to think. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Philadelphia.
Howitzer.
No, Newberg.
Hold.
Newberg.
Sorry.
Newberg.
Newberg.
Newberg. Yeah,
Okay.
Newberg.
That
Uh,
doesn't come to mind.
Dr. Andrew Newberg. It was a professor of neuroscience at Thomas Jefferson University and also at the hospital in Philadelphia. Anyway, uh, he literally wrote the book on neurotheology, and
Hmm.
he
I
draws
didn't
from.
even know there was such a study.
Well, he made numerous studies. Okay,
Is that what he called it, or
he was eventually called that. Okay,
okay?
uh, the studies linked with different parts of the brain with different religious practices. And positive practices, which relied on using words or visualization during meditation, were showed activity, of course, in the language parts of the brain, but also um, very much like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the pleasure and reward processing areas of the brain also became active. Let's see. Yeah, and the participants in his studies reported general feelings of peace and warmth. But people who practiced negative type religions, and he mentioned specific ones, but I'm not going to mention them here. Okay.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
Anyway, those that where you gave up your autonomy to the religion,
Cult like
like having to
and
say chants several times a day because if you don't, you don't fit in, things like that.
I get it. Cultism.
Cultism. But you know, I'm sure,
Speaking in tongues in some places.
right? Speaking in tongues might have enlarged the language centers, but the ones that religion said you must do this, 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 and this, and even in a positive religion, you have these groups who decide to live a different lifestyle for some reason. If you say you must fit this regiment, it suppresses the precortical cortex of the brain.
Oh, so the feeling of being pushed down is very physical feeling, mental feeling.
Mental feeling, yes.
A sort of depression, if you will.
Nathan, it's not just
Nathan, now I
Not
thought
just
we
that
agreed.
one.
not just that one. In fact, that one wasn't one I was thinking
I-
of. But
He's-
yeah, you're right. It could
I
have
was
been.
thinking of others.
Yeah,
I was thinking of others too, but I was also thinking of that.
Thinking that you didn't want lunch when you walked out the door in the morning.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's one major religion of the several major religions that I was thinking of at the time.
Yeah, me
Who
too.
associate stopping doing everything in order to go into prayer and
To just be acceptable to yourself, and never mind the general whole.
right.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Let me see. I'll see if I can find a study. Okay. Oh yeah. Good enough one. You want this in the private chat?
Where are we
Nathan,
at?
sir?
Let me see. I'm looking up.
Yeah, let's make sure that
Sure. Yeah.
we're all on the board here.
Let me make sure it's I don't know what's the word, kosher.
Yeah.
Wah,
Kosher.
wah,
Huh?
wah.
You may have to go down. Well, wait 1 second. What
Oh
did this
boy.
do to me? Somehow we skipped articles. No, we didn't. Did we?
Medical News Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay,
this
that's
is what
right.
you're looking at.
Yeah,
Wait
look at
for
the top.
neurons
Look at
to
the top. Religion is like sex, drug, and rock and roll.
The link that you sent me is new way for gut neurons to communicate with the brain.
Okay.
That's the link I
They
just clicked.
skipped you.
Okay, let me
Maybe we
try
should take
again.
that
It's the
as
same page for some reason.
maybe we should take that as a hey, guys.
There you go.
go.
That should take you to the top.
Now, what's
Uh,
it gonna do to me
What
once
happens
I
in
get
the brain during a spiritual experience?
hold
there?
on. Let me. Okay. Yeah, I will. I'm not going to read the entire article. It's kind of big.
It wasn't you.
Oh,
Let's
I
yeah,
was
see.
talking to Storm.
they got Miller and somebody, some other people in there, but hopefully they've got the one I was thinking of.
Well, yeah, and at the risk of being called anti-religion or anti all of the above, we sure aren't.
Yeah,
Practice it
religious.
very, very uh, re- religiously.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
religious
Mm-hmm.
belief can increase our lifespan and help us better cope with disease.
Yes, because it gives structure,
Hope.
Yeah.
It gives hope.
gives hope,
Well,
gives structure, gives predictability, gives comfort. And there is
well,
Okay.
no question
human
about that.
beings are not good where it comes to things that are not predictable or not knowable. They really aren't. Uh, we like our lives to be very routine. We're very much packed that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when you realize that life is very unpredictable, it can really send people into left brain blowout.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens in the brain during a spiritual experience? Can you kind of put a synopsis to that, Joe?
I did just a minute ago.
Yeah.
It depends on what sort of practices you're doing.
Mm. So life
Uh,
affirming practice and things are of a positive nature probably are uplifting whereas
right.
some of the other stuff isn't necessarily.
Like the frontal and uh, prefrontal cortex loci, when you practice positive magics or positive
Prayer.
worship or positive prayer, it actually activates the pleasure and reward systems of the brain. Um, it also does that when we practice things like sexual activities and listening to
Yeah.
music.
With
I think you're talking
music
about
and
oxytocin and
yeah.
serotonin.
Yeah, the things called androgynous morphines, which is the
Right, right.
body's
No,
own
this and
morphines.
then this is all stuff that's very common to the brain, you know.
Right. But if you practice a faith that has rigid rules, you know, it actually suppresses the prefrontal cortex. And well, that would seem to be uh, something you'd want it to happen because you don't want people thinking for themselves, so you suppress the urge to.
Yep.
No, which oh, I don't know. There are certain kinds of prayers that are done ritually that are just repetition. The Lord's Prayer is one of those. Uh, our our uh, yeah, drawing down the moon is one of those. Um,
Well,
but
drawing down the moon, you don't necessarily have to get word for word right. Nobody's
no,
going to say, "Hey,
but it strikes that chord, and it is that type of recital.
Mm.
And these route prayers are very comforting to human beings. They come to us when we're at a complete loss to know what to do next, or we're in a complete hysteria about something horrible happening around us, and then suddenly, you get one person who remembers remembers their catechism or remembers their Sunday school prayers or remembers
yeah,
what they
I see
learned
that
in
right,
coven
Nathan."
and they're repeating it and it calms a room like we did earlier.
Hmm.
Yeah, but the prefrontal cortex is traditionally involved with the execution of control or willful behavior, okay,
Okay.
as well as decision making. So many of your medical people would hypothesize that relinquishing control will decrease activity in this area. Now, maybe decreasing the activity in that area might work in certain situations, like you're wounded and thinking about bleeding to death. But,
Exactly.
you know,
Mm.
Or you need that sudden burst of strength to get out of a burning building.
right. And, it reminds me of Karl Marx saying religion is the opiate of the people.
He did say it, and it's one of the founding principles of communism,
Right,
to avoid that, which is a shame because it's very much a comfort to people
right.
in
Order. You're talking about
order and
order,
yeah.
predictable order. Yeah,
hmm
yeah.
And
They
even
actually,
even they weren't able to eradicate it.
yeah, they put this, they put that idea in Mandalorian, and it was stated. I think this was the line. People say they want freedom, but what they want is order.
Predictability,
Hmm.
to know what to do next,
Yep.
and not necessarily have to think about that for themselves.
Hmm.
Does sound awfully familiar, doesn't
And
it?
there are people like us here in the quantum show where, I mean,
Mhm.
not just us three. I mean, everyone who
Oh
attends.
no. Yeah.
We Okay. You got shows that think
Everybody
out.
here has. I'm sorry. Please
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, you got people. You got shows that say think outside the box, but don't go outside this box. But
Oh, the Jagger needs a coffee.
yeah, he's going for another. Yeah, I. Me too, man. Me
Give me
too.
a straw, will you? Just
Hype it over. But we're
Hang it on the IV.
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Stick me right here. It's good.
but like you got shows and people saying think outside the box, but we're so far outside the box. I can barely see the box. The way we're doing this, we are the free ones, and we're the ones. Oh man, and let me tell you, yesterday when that girl ran out of the woods on me, okay, I was like, something interesting, something abnormal, something random. This
Oh,
is
let's
for
find
me.
out what it is.
Yeah, that's what it was. But
Yeah.
I think Xena came and said, pop, don't do this,
Failure
because
is
they
the
were
first step in learning.
right. Well, I've been down that road before,
Yeah.
and I think that's how I knew better,
South
or
South
maybe
Cal South Cal Squatcher made a very good comment about what we're talking about, and it's very true.
right.
They
They
want,
security,
yeah, they
a
want a
false
sense of freedom, not the type of freedom that puts them at risk of their own failure.
right. That's
Yeah,
Boy,
but
that's insightful.
a good way to
failure
put it.
is the first step to learning.
Yeah. Well, that's crossing points. I mean, what SoCal is talking about is the topic. What you're talking about, Joe, is what I did, and yeah, I
I'm
Oh,
talking about what he
would
said
you
too.
okay.
call what you did a failure? I don't.
Oh, I don't. I could have. It
It
was
was an
right there.
exercise in compassion. It's an
Yeah.
exercise in curiosity. You decided to you kept your eyes open. There
Hmm.
wasn't there wasn't an outright uh indicator of danger. You
Yeah.
saw what it was the lady wanted to show you,
Yeah. And there, and
and
I,
you moved forward into action by calling the police.
yes,
You did exactly what you should have done.
right.
Exactly.
And
Now,
I
if
was
it had been
looking.
me, I would have
Mhm.
called the police and I wouldn't have gone anywhere with her.
Yeah.
Personally, I
Well,
would not have.
see, that was that right there, that's what tipped me off, like, this is the hook. This is the hook. Pretty girl, and she was pretty, okay, she was
Oh yeah.
attractive. Runs out of the woods, s it jumps in front of my car like this and says, "There, call the police," or, excitement. There's that excitement, right? And my shields were down. I was, like, in a relaxed state, my shields were down, and her fearful excitement just chirp, just
I would
plugged
just go
in.
along with it and call the police. I wouldn't have worried about what was in those woods. But
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
me. And I've had enough other experiences to be very, very uh, careful, cautious of things like that. You
Mhm.
know, now, if somebody falling into the street in a convulsion, oh, hell yeah, I'm going.
Well, we know what to do. We know, at
Yeah.
least we have a path of what we know to do, you know?
Well, if we hadn't done that day, when that happened, she would have choked to death on her own vomit, and that's not an exaggeration. I know it would have happened that way.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
that reminds me of something. I went with a friend of mine. He was in the quantum show for a long time in the very beginning. His name is Tim also, but it's not this Tim. It's not our Tim here now.
okay.
I we went to Walmart, and I was just looking at, household stuff, and this dude had a seizure right in front of us. And and everybody flocked to him. Most people were just like,
Wow, there's a guy having a seizure. What do I do?
yeah,
Pat his head.
that's that's what
Yeah.
the, a nurse showed up. There was a nurse there, or some kind of medical person, and she grabbed like a shirt or something from the clothing section and just wrapped his head around it, a big fat. It was something cloth. It might have been a
Something
shirt,
enough to give him some cushion if he banged it.
right?
You
And
know.
he was rigid like a chair. I
Oh
mean, he
yeah.
fell over, and it was like his arms and legs were out like this, and he
Mhm.
fell over, and he stayed in that position.
Yeah.
And the person he was with says, "He's having a seizure. Oh my god, he's having a seizure." And I think it was an ambulance guy, right? Not the ambulance guy that with the ambulance that showed up, but an off-duty EMT worker.
Mhm.
It's been so long. It's been like 4 years ago. And she said, "Just cradle his head, cradle his head." Emergency services have been called. They called the ambulance. They called them, and they came in about 10 minutes. And the kid, I don't know, they picked him up and took him off. So
Now,
Yeah.
if they're having a grand mal seizure and flopping and all that, do not try to pin them down. The
Mm.
only thing you want to do is to protect the head.
She got herself so tangled up, her backpack had cut off her airway.
No, well,
Ended up cutting that off of her.
hmm,
But by the time the EMT came in, and they were there in 5 minutes. But if we hadn't been there at the time, she had inhaled. And the only way to get her cleared was to Heimlich maneuver and get that gunk out of her mouth and get on with it.
hmm.
It's really all she needed. But it was an interesting day, that one. I'm sorry, Frank. It's raining hard. Oh,
Oh,
that's why we were having some problems. But
okay.
anyhow, I mean, these are situations we run into on a day by day basis, but they're
yeah.
they're not the norm. They're outside the routine. But what was different, we knew what to do about it.
Hmm.
You
And,
know.
yeah, and when this girl ran out, her in herself was not threatening, but the situation was. And I was, like I said in the first hour, this is the beginning of a horror movie.
Mhm.
And it really
Oh
could have been.
yeah,
It really
you're
could have been.
right.
And
Yeah. You could have been. There was a lot of scenarios
Yeah,
that you
and I told
played out.
right, and I try and like thinking
Thing.
about this stuff, right?
Mhm.
It's so hard to put alternate what ifs in
Mm.
words. You start talking and you just what if it was this? And I tried to do it the first hour. I ended up blabbering, and it was like, oh, you can't put this stuff into words. If this, if that, if this, if that, and it's
Yeah.
so
Well,
much.
you were there at the time. You felt led to do what you did, and you did what you did, and you solved the problem.
Yeah,
As
and
far
you
as
know
I'm
what
concerned, you did everything perfectly.
what I did not do was lead with fear,
Yeah.
lead with insecurity. I did not lead with that anxiety. I did not. I led with curiosity, compassion, and I was. That's just a part of me, right?
Mm.
And I refuse to lead with fear. Caution, sure, of course, right?
Well,
Uh,
what is it you say, Joe, when somebody pulls in front of us and we pull back a little bit and say, "Well, thank God we were here to protect you,
Right.
damn fool," you know?
I don't say the damn fool. Okay. That's what that I leave up to Frank. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't
Because
quite get his intonation.
I believe in practicing manifesting positive goals, even for those who aren't looking out for themselves.
Well, yeah. You know.
And try to cultivate my inner strength, like Nathan was in that walk there, trying to go out there, not in fear, but in his inner strength.
yeah,
And his inner strength is probably broadcasting to her too. And it would have promoted some positivity to her also, that you were willing to go into a place that other people would fear to tread,
hmm
and it will affect not only her, not only you, but it'll affect her life in the future, and maybe the whole community around you.
yeah. And
Uh,
I wonder in that whole stream of what ifs, right? What if I was delayed from something I was appointed to
right?
get happen, or what
Right.
if I was around and she was saved from something? Don't know.
Well, and that's possible.
Oh yeah. What if she had
One thing.
approached the wrong person on the road?
First of
Seriously.
all, she would have got run over,
Yeah.
or around here shot. People carry
Saw
guns
that.
all over the place, right?
Or maybe just grabbed.
You're right, right.
You
That
know.
too. All
So
kinds of stuff.
you were put there, and
You,
I do not believe in coincidence. I really don't.
you were
Yeah.
holding central to your ethics.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I was. And I tried to talk to somebody about this. They said, I think too much. I think too much about it, and I need to mind my own business. And I'm like, yeah, that's
That's a very Tennessee
No,
way of looking at things. You think
you
about it.
brought her you brought her her some measure of peace over it.
hmm
I don't think. I think uh, your act was a positive transformation.
yeah. And she was not regarding me with fear because I went up there and I actively, I mean, it's a discipline, right? To not be scared. You have to practice at it because it is
Oh yeah.
hardwired into us to be scared of everything. So I've been doing it. I've been doing it for a long time. So I do not do fear. And when I went into the woods, I went boldly. Okay, I
Well,
didn't go in
Well,
like
you also did it in a respectful and mindful practice too.
yeah, and
and
Uh,
bravery
well,
is not an absence of fear. It really isn't.
no, it
It's
isn't. It's
a
just not
decision
acting off.
to
Fear
go
is really
forward.
yeah, fear is there, but
Yeah,
I refuse to lead with it. I
exactly.
don't you can't turn fear off. It is hardwired. It's chemically hardwired within us. And when I went in there, first of all, like you said, Joe, I stick to my core. And second of all, it's the forest. Um, I got this. right? Force like, I
Right.
mean,
You have your force wisdom, your healing, and your own personal growth to take you forward.
yeah, I mean, I went boldly is what I call it. We have to spell it out for the people who are not the ones that are here, but the ones that we'll see later. You go boldly, and what does that mean? You practice what you preach. You go with your strengths. You don't go with fear, and you're in your element.
Well, my mom used to say, and I was sort of a fearful kid, and she'd look at me and she'd go and possess the land, you know. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I could do this. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Yes, I could
Please
do
don't kill all the inhabitants therein, though.
no. Well, you got to remember from where my mom was quoting.
Yeah, but don't kill all the inhabitants therein. That made no sense. Thou shalt not kill. Oh, by the way, that land next door, go kill everybody.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
you got to pick and choose, I guess. But they're still picking and choosing.
Mhm.
Anyway, but the
Yeah, but that was I had to analyze myself there because that person that I talked to really made me do a double take on my own perspective, and I was like, "Wait a minute. And was I overthinking it? And do I need to mind my own business? Was it a test aced or was it a test failed?" Because you got those perspectives, you know? But
you're
I think
gonna
I
have
did
to look
right.
at it yourself.
Right, you did it right. You did a personal transformation right there.
Yeah.
And not
And
just that. When she asks for help in the future, she's going to remember you.
that's something else.
She will.
I
And
thought about
might
going
give her
back.
strength or courage to ask for help in the future.
Yeah.
And if she was living rough, as you say, outdoors, then she may very well have needed an extra measure of courage.
And, I like to think I was radiating assurance and the good vibes that made her feel more comfortable because even though she stayed far away, plenty far away, she was only that far away. She didn't run. She wasn't freaked out, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You
There's
may
that
have also She may have also been a practitioner.
maybe
She
could have
might
been.
have been.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and that affects on how we interact with each other
Yeah. We
because
can see each other. You know that.
Mhm.
it's this, they honor we honor the individuality of each practitioner and recognize their individual path is unique and personal. And so in like you are so entwined with the natural world. I mean, it made sense for you to go out and check nature.
Yeah. And
Besides
mysterious.
that, you could have saw Sasquatch or something, you know?
Yeah, I know, right? Why am I going to give up that
Yeah,
opportunity?
hell yeah.
Yeah, and I look at things like not challenges or things that are to be overcome, but an opportunity. I really do, and that's another part of another discipline that you have to really work on.
Yeah.
Oh man, the car's broke. It's an opportunity to.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity, you know. It's not. Oh, what a pain! What a something. It's inconvenient. And all. No, it's an opportunity. And
It's interesting. We we weren't involved in an accident necessarily, although we
Sorry
were
about that,
involved
Dr.
in
Lynn.
one. Yeah, a guy came around the corner with a truck. He had a barbecue that was not nailed down, or roped down or of any kind. He made that turn on two wheels. The barbecue went flying. My first thought was it was a body. That's what frightened me.
mm.
But it was a barbecue and it self destructed. Oh boy. Shrapnel everywhere.
Mhm.
One of those pieces of shrapnel hit our tire. We did not know it. And suddenly we realized we were losing pressure. We didn't lose it all at once. It was a long tube. And I said, "Listen, there's a tire shop around the corner. Let's see if we can get there." And he goes, "Keep the damn tire up. Stop talking." You know. And so I was in there just,
Yeah,
you're
be
gonna stay.
mindful of the practice, okay? Be fully present and engaged in the moment.
Well, I was engaged, all right. And no, you need to stay up there. You need to stay up. You're not gonna shred. You're gonna be fine. Just stay up there. Let get us over there. It took us over a mile and a half from where we were struck to that tire shop. Pulled in, it was closed, except for what, two or three guys, and they were just locking up and walking out. And they looked at us, and I looked at him. I said, I don't know what we can do if we can't get this fixed. And the guy looked at me and he says, he must have stared at me for 2 seconds, not any more than that. He said, "Open up the garage door. We're gonna fix this one." And they did. They had it taken care of in 5 minutes and gave me a tire because they were closed and couldn't make a sale.
That was awesome. That
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
aw
it was about
fabulous.
understanding. It was about understanding the interconnectedness between all beings
Yeah.
and recognizing the energy that flows. That was just an
Well,
awesome thing that happened
and
for
I
you.
recognized it too. And when we came back, I guess it was a week or two later, we went over to Little Sleezers and I mean Caesars, and got a got a what, 5 or 6 pizzas and a couple of liters of bottles of sodas, and it was supper time. And these guys been all day, no food. Walked in and said, "Well, we didn't order anything." No, but I did. Here you go.
Mhm.
You know, I said, "I appreciate your manager that night taking care of that tire."
Yeah.
You know, and and I can't say the right word the right way. Receive and give. You know, you give out what you've received, and everybody uh manifests 100 times more.
Right. And there you also harnessed your power of intention.
Hmm.
That was a ritual.
Yes.
Yeah.
The people don't think of it as a ritual, but that was a ritual as we live our daily lives.
Yes,
You know,
Nathan, that's the
it was
word,
a
and I can't say the word. I
reciprocate,
can't get my mouth around it. Re, re, re,
reciprocate,
re,
recip,
recip,
procate.
pro, reciprocate.
Right.
Okay, that sounds foul. I don't know.
Especially when you talk about getting it out of your mouth.
You are so truly pagan.
Yes, I am. I am. I do pay attention to my thoughts and emotions.
You do. The thing is, you're really enjoying it.
Nobody says I can't.
Poor
I mean, I
Nathan. Nathan needs coffee and bourbon
Yeah,
now.
I need to get some coffee. I'll watch for no bourbon. Watch for
No
ghosts.
bourbon. Don't watch
okay.
for bourbon. Watch for ghosts. Okay, where you
I,
got the bourbon? Too late.
I need
Darn.
Dr. Pepper. So guess what?
What?
You've got the show.
You're not gonna. Oh, you scamp. Well, folks, here we are. Our sponsor today is Tums. For that burning feeling that you just can't seem to get rid of. I don't know what to do with this. In any case, what we did with that particular situation was not only to receive the blessing that we were given, but we also were able to give a certain amount, get a certain amount of blessing from it, and give a certain amount. And everybody was absolutely thrilled with it because besides the three people who actually helped us, the other parts of that crew were there too, and got to reap some of that joy. So they'll be more uh, thoughtful towards others as well. So we won. We won all the way around on that. Some people don't understand the cabal of the cacophonous comedic church of sarcasm. Oh no, we've got that down real good. Thanks for offering there, Tim. That's good. See, now Bronk uses a 24-hour clock and just noticed the time when he hopped on. Well, I don't know where you are, Bronk. I think California, did you say? I'm not sure. But, where that comes from, whether you're over in New Zealand or Australia. I know Aussie Tigers from Australia. And I love this from you, Tim. My wife and I have a rule: we never take a hitchhiker we couldn't take in a fair fight. If I've got a hitchhiker in there, the last thing I'm worried about is a fair fight. All right. I don't pick up somebody that makes me that nervous. Well, that's the truth of it too. Go boldly. Most of the time, an attitude will keep you from any type of trouble, whether it's on the road or even person to person. Since you know what you're doing and the other person's worried about it, listen to them. Got bumped from the chat for this ghost anyway. Okay. British Columbia. Oh, you're still in PS Pacific Standard Time. You're what? Let's see what time is it? You're at 9:30. Cool. Hi, Aussie. Hi, Diane. Tim, good to see you. And you too, South Cal Sasquatcher. Anybody else we recognize right off? Nobody I see here. Oh, hi, Desic. Glad you see there. No, and we're not anti-religion. We are far from that. We just want religion to be good for everybody. That's really all it is. Hey, Frank, I'm here all by myself. Isn't that cool? I have no idea what to do with it, but here we are. I was very, very happy to be in a video earlier, listening to Nathan and the different points that he brought out. I really enjoyed that. Anybody else think of what did anybody else think of that video? I thought it was awesome. It's all very uncomfortable situations, but definitely things that are quite real. No matter how they manifest, or what you call them for that matter. We've been, I want to thank you guys. We've been in this show now for, several months now, and I have
Hey.
had
Oh,
quite I'm here all alone and I'm doing a soliloquy, so shush.
oh,
The I'm kidding you. Oh, there you are. Leave me all alone while you go get this Dr. Pepper.
I didn't know what happened.
Oh,
I don't know. When I came back,
and you left me alone. And in my defense, the moon is going to be full, and I was unsupervised.
she's showing the full moon.
This week, if I'm thinking right.
Yeah, but okay, let me guide us back to the do not cross show.
Ooh.
Okay,
And I
so
like the more positive aspects, but
I
that's
like
okay.
I like the positive aspect to it, and now we've got the lightness built up because that oh man,
Yeah, you need that to tackle that subject.
yeah. And thanks y'all for bringing back the lightheartedness because it really, I mean, just talking about that stuff, it drains you. I mean, and I don't do any of it.
Oh.
Well,
I'm
the
all
new moon
about.
is not.
Go ahead, Joe.
She had asked a question about the moon, so let me quickly answer. The new moon
Oh yes.
is not until the full moon. I'm sorry, is not until the 25th. We're in
Right.
a cross moon.
Mhm. This
No,
next week, isn't it? A week after.
not this Saturday. The Saturday after,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and we don't do it exactly on the day. But in case anybody else is listening and saying, "Oh, the 25th is Monday," I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, but you know something, there is such a thing as schedules, and there's such a thing as being able to get those schedules to link up. And sometimes a weekend's all we got.
This is the
And
first quarter.
right. I was looking at that last night. We had a nice smile on the moon, and looking at a triangle up there just as neat as you please. Very pretty. And I couldn't tell you which one you could probably, but I can't. And you don't know either from the sounds of it. I know there was at least Venus and Mercury up there. There might have been Mars as well. I just don't know.
Well, if they're really bright, you only have
Yeah,
one other choice, and that would be of the really bright ones, and that would be Jupiter.
right. And I didn't feel like that was it, but you know, I don't know. I looked, I said, "Hey," and got doing my business, got things straightened around. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It,
remote controls is
it is remote
Ron's
control because
deal. Yeah.
we talk on Facebook about RC stuff, and
Mhm.
that tank, that tank, that tank from last week,
Yeah, I remember.
and it still gets good reviews, and it's good. It's a good starting point if you want to build a for real drone, land rover drone. It's a good starting
Well,
point.
that seems to be the war of the future.
Well, I mean exploration for me.
Of course.
I don't mean that. I mean it
Just
looks like
fun.
yeah, jumping up and down and turning, and just, you cannot put it through water. It's still cheap. It's not the expensive RC. It's the cheap RC.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't put water on it.
No, I mean you have to.
Well,
You have to.
the just well, yeah, I
Mm,
was going to say just put some varnish on everything.
uh,
You'll be surprised how well that waterproofs.
well, it's got
So
a gearbox in it. So, but anyway.
you wanted to go back to the original subject, and we probably should get on if we're going.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't like a kind of general rule for the way I'm running this deal, the quantum show, is don't talk about what you don't know, right? That you haven't done. But those are some of the things that I don't need to do to be able to observe the horrific effects of them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And uh, I hope that I got my point across,
Well,
and I hope the people watching saw
let's get into a questionable practice,
it. Mhm.
if you don't mind. Now, I have my own feelings about it, but what do you think about those who practice a religion that draws upon influences from various cultures and traditions?
What do I feel about it?
What's the
Yeah.
feel?
What do I think about it?
Hmm.
Eclecticism. I'm
No,
for
Yeah.
it.
well, not only that, but see, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're using sage.
Oh, you mean
That's an American Indian practice. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's their
cult,
tradition."
But
cultural
that's not.
appropriation?
But
That is
cultural appropriation does not approach this because sage has been used on all continents forever.
right. But that okay. This is my stance on cultural appropriation. It
Okay.
is an urban legend. Okay, it is an urban thing. These like these it's super woke thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And I am not with cultural appropriation as you do not do this because this group does it. No, that group that's how culture works. You, you share culture. You
If
learn other
if
culture.
if Joe comes to my house and I feed him schnitzel, okay, and he enjoys it, he said, "May I have the recipe?" And I hand it over. That is not cultural appropriation.
No.
That's sharing and understanding culture.
Hey, in that case, I want to take it to the extreme wokeness. They used brooms in ancient Egypt, so we can't use them because it's disrespectful to the ancient Egyptians.
That's just stupid. I'm sorry that the
Right.
word
It is.
should be used.
I think it is paramount that we recognize those sources and treat them with respect and reverence. But that's as far as I'll take it. The cultural
Yeah,
appropriation
culture is meant to be
is
shared.
using to me is using it without understanding of its original context. Other than that, if you know what it's used for, use it.
Right. Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
it, there's different uh, methods of dress. During the 60s, it was just as common to see somebody who was white have an afro as it was to see somebody who was black have one. At least where
Yeah.
I was.
It's a hair
Uh,
thing.
It's a hair thing. And
yeah. Well,
it's like I got a daughter whose hair is just absolutely unmanageable. Yeah, well, you have longer hair than I do right now. I had to cut mine.
Well,
But uh,
this is cultural appropriation of women's style. Please,
I
oh,
wear
give me a
pants.
break.
Get over it.
Yeah, it's a
And
hair thing.
pants were considered extremely effete in certain cultures, as well as being very masculine in others. So where do you draw the line? You can't.
yeah, as long as you're giving credit, I don't see any problem.
Yeah,
If you understand and not just utilize the different cultural things.
I
That
mean, nothing shocked me more than the day I walked in and there's my kid sitting there with a bald head, and I'm like, and this is new in our relationship, which I'd only known her for about a year, and I'm like, is there something you need to talk about? Are you okay? Because honestly, my first thought was she cutting? Okay, was she hurting herself? And no, not at all. Another lady at her work had cancer. They all shaved their heads in solidarity. And I said, "Bravo, carry on. Let me go tell your father what you've done before you sue him." You know. And I did. I said, "Frank, your daughter has changed her hairstyle somewhat."
somewhat
He goes, "What's she done?" I said,
changed
"She
their
shaved
hairstyle.
it off." And he goes, "Any particular reason or just for the hell of it?" I said, I don't know. I think it was because of this particular situation at work. Oh, okay. And at that moment, that was fine. Now, this was, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years ago. And she liked it so well, she never grew it out again. We thought, well, we've seen her this way. It's okay. It's all good. But, that's a cultural shock. And then some. But that's how she prefers it now, and that's fine.
Well, to answer your question earlier about what planets were near the moon last night,
Yeah.
I don't show any.
There was a nice
I
big
do.
triangle.
I see Orion,
That wasn't
uh,
part of it.
Gemini, and well, there's three. There's a nice big bright star off of Orion. There's a nice. I can't even read this.
I would have been able to see the rest of Orion, I think.
There you go, Tim.
Yeah, you're right, Bronk. Absolutely true. Taylor Swift is not a psyop.
Yeah.
What in the hell is that?
I still don't understand that.
It was a thing at the Super Bowl. People can't understand why she's so pretty, so successful. So, and I'm like, she's an entertainer. She pushes the right buttons and has the right agents. And they're
Yeah.
all there was this woman at work. She was talking about Taylor Swift frequencies. What
Uh,
are those? I would like to know where on the EM band those fall, please. And
I don't think that
AM and FM.
yeah. Seriously.
let me be specific here. And she was talking. Oh, she was talking all the most unknowledgeable and misinterpreted conspiracy theories. Flat Earth, okay. Aliens are here to eat us. Joe, you're gonna love this one. This is the best misinterpretation I've ever heard. The Earth is surrounded by a shield that planes can't. The Earth is surrounded by a bubble that planes can't escape, but the space shuttle can. Yeah, that's called the atmosphere. It is a
You damn fool.
planes can't go up there because they need air. They don't work in space,
Yeah.
and rockets do.
It's like,
Well,
I mean, how desperately uneducated. I mean, seriously.
wait
You
one
know,
second. You work in an aerospace facility, don't you?
right? We don't
Gee,
talk about
it's
the
big.
space stuff. Oh, did I say that? Did I
Ooh,
say that?
oh boy. Okay, well, I'm ready to tackle the dark and dirty. What about you?
There we go. Fazdev much? Here's my thing. Before we get back into the dark and dirty, this is okay. All these big developers, the aerospace places, have a Black Ops and a Skunk Works type thing, right? And I was thinking, why doesn't Embraer have that? Why doesn't my oh I gotta edit that shit. Never mind. Never mind.
You're gonna get it in trouble.
Yep. They don't watch it.
I
And
just
One
we will
got
make
money
it
for a
double.
pizza.
one person watches this show, and I don't think he watches this stuff. Um.
There goes my Dr. Pepper Lynn Ann gave me.
Oh. Okay. Nerd is saying talking about the Taylor Swift.
Oh,
From what
you
I saw,
saved it for tonight, huh? I thought that would be gone pretty quick.
from what I saw,
No, no,
Taylor
no.
Swift psyop stuff was mostly a QAnon thing. That she was rigging the Super Bowl to use it as a pulpit to preach Biden, etc. I didn't even look that far, but thanks for the enlightenment on that. I had no idea. And QAnon is it's a made up thing. I urge you all to go on that topic. Go see Alien Girl 111 interview with the American. What were they calling him? Uh,
Shaman?
American shaman.
Yeah.
He did not talk politics at all. It was all spirituality, and it was so good. Please go. It was all spirituality, and it was all spiritual reasons why he was doing anything he was doing. And there, please go watch. If anybody wants to watch that interview, it's linked. Her channel is linked below. Oh, it's so great. Yeah, we might do that. I need to
I
take.
don't know.
Yeah, I need to take the little what did I say? FazDev. I need to take that to Rumble. I'll talk about it on Rumble, but I won't
There
talk
you
about
go.
it here.
Yeah, get crazy there because we get shoved off the air here.
Well, the wrong people will see that, and
That drop kick us so far, we will fly over the Appalachians.
yeah, being employed where I am, I don't want to talk about it too much because they actually have rules about that, and
Mhm.
apparently they're watching. They're watching.
Oh, I love it. Do 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 do. Hi,
I'm gonna love watching that in the replay.
my daughter needs a job. Anyway,
But Tim, we will do that at Rumble at some point in the future. And if y'all now not taking sides, but we have to take sides here. Yeah, I agree. I agree. He is so much.
yeah, he
I
was
don't know.
put out there pretty hard and fast. Wasn't
Do
he?
your own research, people. Not the people, not Lynn and Joe. We already know the deal, but
We already have.
yeah, but yeah, they said it was. Oh man, please go watch Amy's
They
interview.
chose talk about guests of honor at the barbecue. You know.
Yeah, yeah, but okay. Now back to the topic.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
do it. We can
this
do
is
this. I
those
don't want
kinds of things. They need to be acknowledged, but I don't want to encourage any of that stuff.
to
Right?
aggrandize. No, there's nothing to aggrandize.
No, but I also don't want to encourage to. This is the time when I say the less you know, the better. I do not do that, right? But this was
Yeah, it's
the
true.
less you know, the better. Especially about demonology and necromancy, right? I mean, there's just you can't tap dance your way out of those.
Well,
Okay,
there are some things that if you have any sort of psychic understanding or link to the universe, just if the conversation goes that way, you kind of want to curl up and start screaming, you know,
yeah, that's
and
the time to
doesn't mean that you're not protected, doesn't mean you don't have protections. It means it's that repugnant.
yeah, and we are talking from experience, and we have this much. You have more experience. I have this much experience. I don't know
No,
what other
you
people,
might think.
but I have this much experience with it, and that's all I needed to know. This is the worst of the worst.
I've seen ugly. I've seen old big and ugly. I don't
Yeah,
want anything to do with it.
yeah.
Nothing, and it doesn't want anything to do
Hey,
with me either.
I'm not that ugly.
I
It's
wasn't talking about you or Shadow for that matter, or oh boy, that was a Freudian
oh.
slip. Or Frank for that matter.
Or a storm, yeah.
Boy, my Freudian slip showing.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
yeah, that
it's
and the now those two topics of those two parts of it, that was another one, right? But I wanted to also, since this is more in your AO, your area, actual physical area, is Santa Muerta, right? Now,
well,
y'all heard me say, Joe, I don't know if you heard me say Santa
Yes, I
Muerta
did.
herself. Okay, she herself, she's good. She's nice.
Yeah.
She's compassionate. She's helpful. She wants to help
She is the
people.
goddess of the disenfranchised,
Yeah,
the goddess of the hopeless, of anybody who finds themselves outside the grace of God, anyone who finds himself outside the grace of the church.
yeah.
She's
Or the
worshipped by
law.
a lot of different kinds of people.
And her herself, she's a saint. She's good. When you're working with Santa Muerta, it's nice. It really is. It's not her. It's the people who follow her, the people
It's
who call
it's
on
what
her.
she's come to represent.
Right. And
The thing is that she is the one who, if you need a favor, you buy a favor.
you scratch my back, I scratch
Yes,
yours. But
exactly.
it's not
And when I say buy
in
a favor, I'm talking about a pack of cigarettes
yeah,
or a lunch
yeah,
or maybe a piece of fabric, something that comes from you that is a sacrifice,
you're right.
you know.
That's
But this particular gal with who actually venerates her, is not a bad gal until she gets into some of the more nefarious parts
oh
of
yeah,
that.
that's part of it. She will not back down from an
No,
offering. She accepts them all. Like there are some saints, whatever, entities that will like, no, not this. This is not for me. Not her. I mean, it's what you're willing to do.
yeah,
So, and she doesn't
you
even,
know,
it's pound for
one
pound.
of the one of the most uh, upsetting, I think, might be the best way of putting it. They find her altars in some of the cartels,
Yeah,
and some of those offerings are horrendous, just horrendous.
like I said, the followers, not the
Yeah,
saints.
the
The
followers.
followers are who you got to worry about.
Well,
Um,
and she's also a thought entity.
go ahead.
Yeah,
She didn't exist until the late 1800s in the Philippines. You will not find her listed in any of the Catholic
Oh no,
list
not
of
at all.
saints.
But they know
no,
she's
they know of her. They try to discourage her worship.
there.
Right.
But it's there. Just like the next part of now, and I do like Santa Muerta as an entity. I like it. I like her.
Yeah.
She's
What
good. Hmm?
what a lot of her practitioners forget is at her feet there's a scale.
Yeah,
It's a it's a timeless symbol of justice, and it embodies her commitment to fairness and balance, but it also balances justice, our justice system, and what the people are doing.
You know what? Looking at a general Google search, she is very beloved. She
Mhm.
is very beloved.
she's picked up by all kinds of folks that, like I said, find themselves on the outskirts of what is considered, we'll say, kosher, like you did.
Oh,
Okay, but the outskirts of grace, where we're talking about, yeah. And
This
she
is
okay.
often
one
looks like
depiction.
death
One
itself.
depiction. Yeah, one depiction. But
Yeah, but there's also you should get the depiction of her in the flesh, and you're going to
yeah,
find that she
maybe.
looks an awful lot like not Lilith, Anana,
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hey, at
with
Walmart.
the great
uh,
owl. There's the great owl
Yep, and the scales.
yeah,
and the scales.
Let me go
The
ahead.
great owl is symbol of vigilance,
right.
for
Also wisdom.
There it
yeah,
is. That's better. Do you see better?
and perception,
Yeah.
watchfulness.
Yeah, and
and
she does balance the scales,
she navigates the darkest of nights.
right?
Um,
So it stands to reason that she would attract people that find themselves at the end of their rope, whether it's they can't get out of the life, we'll call it that way.
Yeah, and I
Uh, you know, there's often uh, worshipped here anyway by prostitutes because they are considered quite low. And
yeah, but they're also looking for justice,
that's right,
and they're living that life, but because if you're illiterate here in the United States,
that's right,
that may be about the only job you can get.
precisely. You got to eat somehow, and I'll tell you, and then this may not make me popular, but I can respect a businesswoman. You got to do what you know how to do
yep.
to live. So that's one depiction of her. You often see her in wedding clothes and finery like that.
Yeah, I wanted to share. Can y'all see this now? No, you're still on the webpage.
Yeah, we're still on the web.
Let me go ahead and.
One of the things about the sickle too is that is a symbol of cutting down evil.
Hmm.
So take that
Or
as you
cutting
will.
down John Barleycorn for a good time.
Yeah, well, it's
I
one
wanted
way
to
to
get
get beer.
a closer look at this, right?
Uh huh. So
Let's
that's
look.
still the other picture.
Yeah, this. I wanted to
Okay.
examine this a little bit. Yeah, very deathly, but death is a change. Death is the stopping of one thing and the
That's
beginning of
right.
another. We know
If
this,
you
you
go to
know.
the tarot, it's never interpreted as death. It's interpreted as change.
Yeah, and here is she's a saint, and
Hmm.
she may look scary, but there's a feel that is not scary. She has a halo,
That's right.
the Sith, and look the world. She's and that's oh, I love this imagery. I love
Yeah,
this imagery,
really a good one.
and I believe this is a artwork or something that's for sale
Yeah,
at
she's
Walmart.
interesting.
Oh, what
Well,
is
I
that?
guess if you can get a cross there, you can get a Santa Muerte too.
Yeah. So okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing that. And
So yeah, but I think a lot of people attribute that to pure evil, and she is anything but.
not evil at all.
That's not her sphere. Not really. Her
It's
sphere is more the ultimate reality, ultimate justice,
hmm
uh, stripping away illusions.
yeah.
That's a
What
biggie.
what is the one that you were describing in a wedding dress?
Yeah, in a wedding dress.
Oh, you, this is
They're
great.
quite often in wedding clothes.
You're gonna love this one. If I yeah, hold on. I have to do this on the fly, and it's like, oh, this is a very good picture. Oh yeah, you're. Ooh, it's a clock. Hold on.
Oh boy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I love all that dead air, y'all. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
And
Yeah, yeah, it's true, Bronklander. Truth always does come out. This fellow is going to be vindicated if he needs to be.
Well, he's
And
already served his time in jail.
yeah,
that is
yeah,
not what
he's
I was.
done with that. Yeah, that's actually like close, yeah, or maybe a death shroud. I'm not sure. She comes in a lot of different guises.
I've got a better picture right now.
She was known as the Lady in White at one time.
Mhm.
I had to kind of like remix it so we get close up on it.
Oh, there we are.
That is such a nice picture.
Yeah,
That's
it's
not this one. Can you see it now?
uh-huh.
White robe. Okay.
No, I
No,
don't see
that's a
white
red
robe.
robe and blue skirt.
That's the original one.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me. Okay, hang on. Oh, too many buttons. Yep, it didn't even work. Hold on.
Sorry about that.
She's also known to go in yellow too.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be more of a death shroud,
Okay.
not a wedding gown.
Right. I just saw the white and I didn't get a chance. And this looks a whole lot like the other one,
Yeah,
painted
it looks.
differently. Because look, the
Yep.
details are a lot the same. Even that red. What is that? What is that? The red and
Get a
white?
little
I think
closer.
that's her
I'm not
sensor.
sure.
No, it's either a sensor or an hourglass.
I'm thinking hourglass. But then that makes sense with the clock there in the background. Time's a wasting, or everyone has a finite amount of time.
Oh, I love the way it says London, England on the clock. Let me see. What does it say?
Yep, London, England, or
London,
something
England.
England.
Oh, that's London. That's definitely London. Is that the same picture? I mean, is that the same statue?
I think
Very
it's the same
similar.
statue, just repainted.
Yeah, I think it is too. I want to find
Real
a different.
similar.
Find her in yellow.
I'm looking. There's a lot of handmade things. Let me tell you. Oh,
When the altars have been seen, they often will have cigarettes on them, candy. Uh, Usually nothing more than that. But it depends the individual. Somebody might come up with candles or uh,
Hypodermic needles and other things like that.
if you're a drug addict, that would be your choice for it. Yeah, that
who's
would be
that?
your sacrifice. It does seem to play on addiction somewhat. Um, Condoms, those are quite often on it.
Here's another. Oh, this is a good one. Let me bring it up for you.
Drugs, there's different kinds of those. Maybe weed. Oh, she's
Hey, we
wow.
could print that.
Yeah, there's similarities, but there's no halo. There
He's
are
got the owls.
you got two owls. You got foot on the world over here.
Uh-huh.
The
Money.
bed of skulls, money,
Money.
but you got a prismatic robe, and
Yeah. Well, that would be somebody who maybe was involved in the LGBTQ,
possibly,
because
possibly.
they are also considered on the outskirts of society quite often.
Oh, and look, there's
Although that's changing quickly.
a lock on the left, and I can't tell what this is.
That looks like the key of knowledge.
Maybe a lock and a key.
That
There it is.
Yeah.
And there's
You got the answer if you've got the right question.
there's your triangle. There's I'm going with Dove.
Yep.
And I can't see what's behind the site right there. But yeah, I like. There's so. I mean, man.
Oh yeah, you also see a lot of alcohol on her altars as well.
Yeah. There's just a lot of love
Yeah,
for
but
this
Lord Byron
person.
tends to require the alcohol more than she does.
Yeah, but that's a different faith too, isn't it?
Well, it still comes from the Caribbean.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit of a complication of it. More of the Santeria. Santeria?
Santeria. No, I didn't go. I didn't
Santeria.
talk about Santeria.
Yeah,
Santeria is.
that's a whole different religion. And so is
Yeah,
voodoo.
and it's not. And you know what? It's not in the do not cross.
No.
It is legit. They are good people. They just have their own ethics and morals about doing stuff. That's why I didn't bring them into the do not cross section.
No, of
Yeah.
course not.
You know,
They're
because
like the ancient Jews. You practice sacrifices.
Right.
But
they got their
don't
own
know.
ethics and morals, but
And there's
their heart's in
different
the right.
sects of them as well.
Yeah, the heart's in the right place, you know? And it's when your heart's, it's that other stuff when you I don't need to say it
It's
again, right?
it's when power and greed are
All that,
involved.
all the dark side comes
All
into it.
the
Yeah.
dark starves of humanity, theft, jealousy, greed, uh, anything we would consider maybe not positive.
Yep. And Joe, you nailed it because I found another depiction and uh let me bring it up here. And this is a only a partial picture, but it's all we need for this one. Uh,
Hello, Kelly Lewis. Glad to
hello,
see you.
Kelly. I'm on another screen. I can't see anything. Sorry. Thank you. And here we go. What I was asking you, what was that red and white thing,
Was it an
Joe?
hourglass?
It's an hourglass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
It's an hourglass for sure.
Yeah, that's a
Guys,
pretty good depiction of her right there.
yeah, I love.
But
I mean,
does she have an owl anywhere around? I don't see one.
it might have been on the base of the statue, but I just grabbed this one up.
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay, we go ahead and stop that. That
Well, we're
is
gonna
on.
have to do one on some of the Sumerian culture because almost all, if not all, of the traditions, Norse, the Greek, the Roman, you know, all seem to have gone up through there from
Mhm.
that particular era. And of course, the Caribbean and the African are a bit different. Now, how that would mix, I have no clue.
Yeah, that. See, that's out of my experience, so
Yeah,
I'm not
mine
gonna.
too.
Uh, no, I can't go there. And let me see. I'm bringing up another Santa Muerta, and you mentioned owls. It's the same picture. Oh, come on. But in full owl.
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling the owl was going to be at the foot, but that's the same one as before, just a more full shot.
But yeah, there he is.
Yep.
She's not quite as scary as the other one.
Nah.
No,
Red is
none of the.
attractive, and she's still standing on money, which
Uh
is,
huh.
I think this is a play on the root of all evil, and need and necessity.
Well,
I don't know. I see
the
that,
uh, the
but
end result.
yeah, I don't know much about her, but I just know that the vibe I get from her is nice. It's compassion. It's caring. It's help
Yeah,
for
I don't have
helpfulness.
a bad feeling about Santa Merte herself. Not
And
at all.
she looks scary, but I can look scary. you know.
Okay. In the private chat, I put a picture of her in white down there that you may want to look at.
Okay. Let me see if I can bring it up.
And
But yeah, it's a
it
pinch.
lacks a whole bunch of symbology on it.
Yeah,
But
it does.
A
And
little bit less intense, maybe.
yes.
no, this is not her. That's not her. That's somebody else. That's uh
Oh, okay.
um, I'll show it. I mean, no problem.
Yeah,
But
show it. Maybe I'll know who it
And
is.
she's similar to what I've seen in white though.
okay, but I get what you're saying. Let me
Some of these religions mixed a little bit too. There you are, cultural mixing, and it's to be expected.
see. This is when we get to the
Oh yeah. Now you're talking about her wedding dresses.
Yeah, this right. This is similar, but this is not her. This is
It's not
a
her, right?
different person. This is a different person.
Yeah.
Um, Novia de Malaga. I don't know who this person is, but it's nice. They're nice. There's a lot more being shown on the Pinterest page.
Really can't see it very well. I'm
No,
gonna
I
blow
gotta
it up here.
let me see
See
if
if
I
I
can.
can see more of it. No, this is somebody else
Oh,
entirely.
I can't. Well, let me see. Yeah, this is not De Muerta.
Yeah, but
No.
as I said, I've seen her in white, very similar to that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I have two. Very different in that.
Yeah, I just have to. I can bring up a bigger picture. I just need to open it up.
I think a lot of times, uh, many of the more intense religions, like the worship of Santa Muerte and some of the uh, some of the voodoo, the Santeria, people will equate some of it with worshiping the devil and that sort of thing. But
Yeah, it's not.
I think you have to believe in him first to worship him.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't.
Mm-mm.
They have other things that are as scary in some places, but that's more of a Virgin Mary.
Yeah, and the name is what was the name? What was the name?
Maria Santissimo.
Santísima Virgen del Rocio
Okay.
de Malaga
Well, the
al
Rocio
Novia,
means the rose.
and
The
I don't
La
know what
Malaga,
Malaga
I
means.
don't know what that means.
Bad, doesn't
Well,
it?
that's what mal means.
Right.
So I'm gonna
Here's a better one with her skulls around her and everything else like that.
hold on. Let me.
And I will say that many of those who do worship the Santa Muerte are perfectly decent people.
Ooh, I
What?
found one of the ones that you showed. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, never mind. It's on Pinterest. Never mind. It's the white one again.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The translation of that is there. Most of it anyway is this. Hold on. This. A lot of proper names in there.
Yeah.
So Maria Santissima Virgen, which
Virgin of the
means
Rose.
Virgin of the Rose, Bride of Malaga, and I don't know who that is. Okay, events to be and that was part of the title. Events to be celebrated. It was like a announcement thing.
Huh.
So I don't know.
It's got to be something from South America.
Yeah, I believe it's
I'm just not
San
real sure what
Salvador.
it is.
I read San Salvador. I
Okay.
don't know where San Salvador is. Is it South America? I don't know.
San Salvador depends on which one because there's a.
Yeah.
Malaga is a city in Spain.
I'm sorry.
Malaga is a city in Spain.
So city in Spain, Frank
Okay,
says.
so Malaga City in Spain.
Of the
Cities
city.
are named after people,
Yeah,
so maybe the founder of the city.
could be.
I'm just
Could be. Oh,
extrapolating. I
you
don't.
know what? Um, they're in Spain, and I think it's the same one. I may be wrong. If I am, that's tough. I'm wrong. But there was a bride to one of the kings in Spain who was severely maligned, and he ended up losing his throne over her, and he regained that throne, and he put her on it uh, after her death, which I'm sure was something else. And that may be the same party. That's entirely possible.
I, I'll say okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to check that. There's a lot. That's a lot
Yeah.
of research.
See, that's where I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. I don't know. I have to say I'm going to back away from this one, but
Yeah,
Santa
that's
Muerta,
a lot of research.
yeah, Santa Muerta,
Yeah, try
very
that last one.
in the um, okay.
Oh, you could stop this.
Well, this is not so much Santa Muerta. Is it's a definitely a related one. I have to go through the process here.
Well, it says goddess of death is what it says.
Well, that would be Santa Marta. Although I'll tell you, some of the translations that are used in places like Timu or some of the other,
Timu.
I've looked at some of them. Where in the world did you come up with that? You know. Oh, I imagine if you're trying to put things on your catalog, you got time to put it there and not much time to think about it.
There's also Morticia. That's an interesting one that looks almost like her.
What? Oh, I didn't say.
I don't know. Maybe that's more pop than anything else.
Well, she's really dark. It looks like a playing card, actually. She's got
What?
a playing card. It looks like the back of a playing card. She's got the sickle, and she's got the devil's face on the end of her sickle. And, she's got a white veil.
That sounds like
Candles.
one of the uh, Caribbean / African / Christian mix up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Hold up, I'm having an error here.
a lot of that from the Caribbean
Yeah.
was tried to make them into Catholics, and they said, okay, we'll take your saints and we'll add our own.
Yeah. That's precisely what they did. Uh, yeah, that definitely could be her. There's skulls and skeletons behind it.
Yeah, but no
Well,
owl,
no
no
owl.
scales. But
No
what in the
scales.
world she got in her hand?
A rose.
Oh, is that a rose or that's somebody's heart?
Hey,
Hmm.
what do you see? And that's what it is.
I think it could be somebody's heart, actually.
Yep.
I don't think I want to
It's a nice one.
participate in that.
Yeah, Kalima. No,
No thanks.
let's get rid of that one.
But I mean, there's a lot of some of the old religions, and not just these that are floating around the Americas. I mean, the Indians religions got quite interesting in their way as well, and so did the Chinese and Tibetans.
Yeah.
So then they all
So,
have
yeah.
their points where they are similar, but they have very specific meanings and symbology to them.
Hmm. Okay, and something else I wanted to talk about was, now we've talked about this one, her before, Lilith. We've talked about
She's
her before.
okay. I like her.
Oh yeah, and I'm utmost respectful.
Oh,
Utmost respectful.
absolutely.
Like I said earlier, she'll screw you or she will screw you.
Yeah. Then it
Yeah,
all depends on how you're approaching.
Right. She has a decorum. Excuse me. She has a decorum. She has not exactly a protocol, but a way of doing things where it's hard to talk about her lighthearted. you know,
Uh,
Uh,
you know,
Not
she
a
went from
lighthearted
being
goddess.
Yeah, she went from being a goddess in one religion to the next religion being a demon.
Yeah, that was cultural appropriation.
Yeah, it's also like it lends to the
and
strength of this.
reappropriating.
Yeah, it lends to the strength of this entity because
Yeah.
uh
It could have completely devolved this particular goddess into obscurity, except it didn't, you know.
right,
So,
and
you
it's
know,
you go to her in a certain manner,
well, yeah,
and
she's
there is
not for the novice.
no, I mean, and you will become experienced real quick if you mess up
Yeah.
because she will let you know, and you will it will be obvious. It will be
Yeah,
obvious.
mess up with one of her daughters,
Hmm.
one of her worshippers.
Yep.
Yeah. Daughters or sons. You know, it's she's not someone to approach with any sort of levity.
Or lightly. You go you go boldly. Be honest with yourself, but there are rules when you deal with Lilith, and she will enforce them, and it will be obvious if you
Well,
step outside the bounds.
if you look at her mythology, if you will, her story, that she was very attractive, somebody to desire, absolutely desire. And if she decided that you could come to her, one kiss would kill you.
Yeah, there's. I'm not saying I know a whole lot about, right, but I know
Well, a
enough.
little bit.
I know enough, and I know enough. You do not trifle with her. I mean,
Uh-uh.
of all the entities to follow and deify and do all, she is. She's got to be one of the top that will mess you up
Yeah,
if you mess up.
and
Well,
to
you
think
can,
she was a demigod,
Hmm.
yeah,
not a goddess, actually.
Yeah.
know,
Well.
and the mythology from the Hebrews was just that, mythology.
Well.
It did not put her out there in the manner which it should have.
Hmm.
Uh, the story behind it was not what they brought forward. It
I
just
would like
Well,
to
when
know.
women became property, what do you expect her to do?
Yeah.
yeah,
The question I have is, did her expulsion happen in the stories before the Jewish Reformation or after?
after.
There it is. After. That leads me into a whole different direction
You
because
know, the Sumerian stories uh, discuss Inanna and Dumuzi, and this is public knowledge, so I'm not disclosing anything untoward.
no, you can look
But
this up on the internet.
oh, you easily. But
Well,
they
she was
were charged by Enlil to make human beings, and they created them. We now think that it might actually have been through cross genetics,
Yep.
but they made them. And then at one point, Enlil decided he wanted them gone and created, guess what, folks? A flood. You know?
Hmm.
yeah, but
So,
Inky didn't like that.
no, Enki didn't like it because he had a hand in making humans also, as he was part of the crew that made human beings.
Well, it was also his earth they made him from.
That's right. So, you know, in when you start to realize some of these older stories were appropriated, you know, by the next culture coming through and taken onto a whole different level that was never supposed to be there in the first place.
Right? It's
Yeah,
a
but I can see how they related some of the darkness to her. She
Oh yeah,
was she was the explanation of crib death.
right.
child of Lilith. Yeah, I can. Hmm.
Well,
However,
she became demonized because of that. Before, people have said, "Oh, these horrible people sacrificed their children to her."
No, they
They
didn't.
brought her their dead children to bless and sanctify. You know, that was what that was for. So, no, to put her into a position of being demonized in this way was most
Heinous.
irreverent and wrong and heinous.
right, and it's very, you know what it is? It's very human to do something like that
It is.
because faced with something stronger, they fear it. Well, we fear it. Uh, we as a collective humanity, they as not here in the quantum show. Okay, we understand these things.
Frank, you're right. Enki did not create the flood. Enlil did. He wanted the humans gone.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
wasn't just him. It was
oh, there was
it was the council at the time, and I don't know which. You have to remember they used a council of 12,
yeah,
which is interesting because you find that same council in the Greek, and in fact, uh, the number 13 became a bad number with the Greeks because, well, somebody decided to join the Council of 12 and found himself underneath a sword held up by a single thread. So,
yeah, and that's one of another story where that 13th person is unlucky at a dinner table.
Yeah. You know, so we can talk about this stuff. Is there a book I could look this stuff up that I could just buy a book and we can we talk about that book? I don't mean Sitchin stuff, right? I mean,
No,
is there a book?
what about Kramer's? What about
Okay,
Kramer's?
Kramer.
There's a whole bunch of you know, we could probably come up with a list. Uh,
Okay, well, we only need one book, and we can like kind of, refer to the other ones a little bit.
well,
But I'll get it and I'll
Kitchen did quite a lot of research, but some of his work has been disproven.
yeah, and some of it is out of time because
Yeah,
I mean the timing, like the war
yeah,
between
his math
Atlantis
was
and
terrible.
yeah, war between Atlantis and Lemuria, it wasn't going to happen. Different different times.
no,
Way different times.
the Sumerian was much later than the Atlantis.
Yeah, and Lemuria,
Yeah,
way after that. But I mean, that's just what he said. That's just what he said. The Atlantis and Lemuria were were at war, and it's like, hold up a second. No, I think there was some mistranslation, and if you look at several different sources, you can kind of piece together what he got wrong. He got the numbers wrong. He got, like I said, the math. He got the math wrong, and
and much of that translation business had not taken place yet when Stitchin wrote his work.
mhm,
So there was a lot of that.
Yeah, he started in the late 30s, and he lived quite a long time, but started in the late 30s and uh, started publishing his book and became popular, believe it or not,
And
in the 70s and 80s. But
yeah, and we have to remember too that a lot of work, if it didn't pass certain criteria, shall we say, was squelched hard, put away, and never seen again. So, there's a lot of that going on too. It's still going on. The Egyptian government absolutely refuses to acknowledge that there's another chamber in the Great Pyramid.
Oh, they just found another one.
Yeah, but the Egyptians aren't the ones announcing that.
No,
Hawass is not.
no, Hawass is. You know, when he was first fired from his position as director, I was at first I was glad, but then I was like, hold on a second. Hold on a second. He's being a patriot. He's helping to defend his country. As misguided as it was, his aims were in the right. It came from the right. He was in good heart. His heart was in the right place. His
Remember
actions.
where he's at and how much they enjoy putting the head next to
Do what?
it. So remember where he lives, what
Yeah,
government he serves under, and how fragile that relationship really is.
yeah. He's kind of being a patriot. I'm not saying what he did was awesome and great by keeping everybody out and
Those are probably rules from on high.
yeah,
You must not declare anything that does not hold within the sex of Allah.
yeah. That's that kind of country over there.
Yep.
Yeah, and so
So
is Iraq and Iran.
yeah,
So yeah, even more
So
so.
and we're lucky we're
Could have
finding
lost
things
his
in
head
Turkey.
there.
Yeah, we're lucky to find things in Turkey that prove that the Sumerian culture may have started as early as the King's List claims it did.
Right.
Though people seldomly put Tebeke Tepe,
Gobekli Tepe.
yeah,
Becky,
Tebeke Tepe with
There's more.
Samaria. It fits with the timeline the Sumerians claimed.
Yeah,
does.
and there's more. There are
And
more
them
of those.
having buried
Oh
it
yeah,
the
there's
way
a bunch
they
more of
did,
them.
them having buried it the way they did, very
Hmm.
much speaks of not an earlier culture coming through there. Maybe Constantine, maybe Hannibal, and those. Not
No,
necessarily
they were
not the Ottoman Muslims. No,
Mm-mm.
not the
Okay,
Ottoman.
well, y'all, this is a high note, and it's been the 2 hours of the panel that I like to check mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it here.
Oh, I wanted to talk about one other Sumerian legend though, real quick. Like,
Okay.
remember the legend of Tiamat?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the scientists are now saying that the lost planet Thea, which they think was around, was supposedly the one that struck Earth and created the moon.
Hmm.
The planet itself may be inside Earth.
Yes. It absorbed it. Earth absorbed it. They found it.
It was
I
that
know what.
much
I
of
know
an
what.
impact.
Yeah, it was from an impact.
Wow.
Oh man, millions and billions of years ago, maybe, and they found it using um geological survey methods where they measured. Is it sound waves, Joe, or is it electromagnetic waves?
Gravitational. It's going to have to be gravitational waves to get that
Oh,
far
Okay,
down.
gravitational waves, and the density is different. And there's a picture. You know what? There is a picture of this. I can find that picture. I will find that picture.
well, the Earth is not perfectly round. It's shaped more like an egg might be.
Hmm.
It was published in the Scientific Journal of Nature back in November.
How about that? When it wasn't out there real heavy and hard either, or I would have seen it.
No, it was kept in the scientific journals, and it finally made like Newsweek and U.S. News technology section, things like that.
So they collided.
Yep.
Yep. And there are pictures of this, and I gotta find it where. Astra Alexandra showed this on her TikTok, and it is a very good graphic, and I just can't find it. Well, I haven't found it yet, but it shows a graphic representation of the scans they took.
Right. And while we're sitting here talking, folks, should like and subscribe us, and you know,
Thank you.
Or dislike if you so desire.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I mean, hey, it's a free country so far.
Yeah,
You know.
and we didn't have somebody giving the opposite point of view this time, unfortunately, but sometimes they get extreme.
Yeah. Well, we kept it very civil with it, and
If you do have an opposite point of view, you're welcome to come in here as long as you are respectful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and exactly. Yes. Okay, I found the graphic. Let me
yeah,
get
if
it.
you start yelling witch at me, I'm gonna be ticked and hex you.
Yeah.
You know.
Demons,
You start yelling
demons,
witch at
demons.
me, and I'm going to say witch. You know?
Which are you witching at?
Okay, let me get this to come
Some
Now
up.
of
you
the
start saying warlock at me, we've got problems.
now we're coming for you, man.
Yeah.
This is what they found, and if you'll look at the picture, the red.
Uh-huh.
Can you see that? Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
The red are pieces of that planet. And now this is supposed to be the outer inner core.
Oh
They
my.
discovered that too. This is supposed to be the different density reading that came back, and it's under. I think this is the Atlantic,
Africa.
and this is Pacific. Yeah,
Yeah. Africa
Right.
and
and Pacific.
Africa in the middle.
right, and it's over there, and it's probably under Africa also. But this is what I don't think they're counting. But look, yeah, it curves it, right? It
Oh.
it banks it. It's right on the edge. It leads in from one to another. So Africa might be from out there,
Somewhere out there.
or some of Africa might be, but then again, this part over
Crazy
here,
day job.
this could also be. This is Western Europe.
No, you're pointing at
You know
Africa.
what? That's
No, I
Africa
mean no.
you got your cursor on. That is
Africa.
South America.
No, that's South America there.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, this is Africa. My bad. My bad. So South America may
Excuse me.
be part. Yeah, of course. Duh, me. Listen, look at me. There's Florida right there. Oh, by the way, this is the hot zone. Right here is the hot zone.
Yeah, but look right in the middle of the hot zone there.
Right here.
Yep, you got it right on it.
Yeah, that's
Gee, what's that?
Yeah, that's a
That's
piece
it.
of the. That's a piece of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And you
And
know what else is there? The Bermuda Triangle.
yep, it is there. That's for sure.
How
That
about
is it.
that?
I thought that
Okay.
was off of Florida, but that's all right.
It is off of Florida.
It is off of Florida.
Well,
It-
That would
you're
be
south.
Cuba.
You're southwest. Yeah, you're southwest of Cuba.
Yeah.
No, I'm on top of Cuba. Or is that
No, the red spot is southwest of it.
Okay, that's Cuba. I don't know my geography,
Isn't
y'all.
that interesting though?
Yeah, these
Of course,
are
remember this is opened up and brought forward.
right. These are graphic representations of the return signals that came through, bounced
Looks
back.
like the Tula went splat.
Yeah, and the Earth absorbed it. Okay, let me go ahead and take that off of there.
It's
And think
amazing.
that's a Sumerian legend.
Oh, Aussie's phone is about to give up on him. So thanks for coming by, Aussie.
Good to see you, Aussie.
And okay,
And yeah, we were going to say, the pushing buttons thing, and
yeah, right,
I'm going
right.
to say for everybody, may the moon bless your steps. May fear flee from your wild beastie hearts.
Yes. Woof.
Okay, I will say keep it quantum, and do not go boldly, and lead with heart. Wow, this went on an upswing so good, and I love it.
This has been a fabulous show. It really
I
has.
think so too. Talk about a roller coaster. I started off, y'all saw, and it was like scary and yeah. Good night, everybody. Thanks
Good
for coming
night.
to the Quantum Show. If you're here, you're Quantum. Like and subscribe. Thanks, everybody. I'm pushing buttons. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Lynn, for coming
Thank
in
You're
you.
welcome.
and saving me from myself on this one. Pushing buttons.